Scott Miller, author of Management Mess to Leadership Success. 30 challenges to become the leader you would follow. Has your lack of humility ever limited your perspective or lessened your influence as a leader? Would you even know if it had? It was an important 2 days in my early leadership career. After a successful 4 years as an independent salesperson, I had been recently promoted to lead a group of about 10 peers. Most of them had preceded me on the team, invested in and developed their own sales skills, and in some ways were more talented than I was as a consultative sales representative. I'd shown some leadership promise as the new leader and wanted to start it off memorably. Stay tuned for that part. I promise not to disappoint in this opening challenge. After securing the vice president's approval and funding, I planned a 2-day sales strategy meeting. I organized the conference room, secured the catering, and hired one of our internal performance consultants to facilitate a 2-day training to ensure this team was up to date on our latest leadership solution. The first morning arrived, and the consultant Nancy Moore and I both showed up around 7 a.m. for the 8 o'clock announced start. I remember it well. I was excited and likely amped after one too many cups of coffee. In fact, one was too many in Provo, Utah. Nancy was also very invested in the trainees' success and even brought a platter of beautifully arranged and freshly cut fruit for them, something she assembled herself, not one of those displays you buy ready-made from the grocery store. I was ready for my leadership debut. This was going to be epic. Team members began to stroll in around 8:15. We finally started around 8:30 when the last associate showed up. I was incensed. I managed to open the meeting, introduced the consultant, and took my place at the U-shaped table. But I was consumed by the fact that on my first day as their leader, my team would disrespect both the consultant and me by being so cavalier with the start time. After all, we're experts at time management. How could they all show up late and not even apologize? It stewed in me. And like most issues that irritate me, it metastasized and took on a life of its own. I went through the day fixated on the profound disrespect. The team knew I was annoyed because I made zero attempt to conceal it. The concept of self-regulation and managing my emotions was not even in my lexicon at the time. It continued to agitate me into the evening and the next morning. On the way to the office, I stopped at the grocery store, not to buy fruit or croissants, but to buy 10 copies of the Salt Lake Tribune. I had a plan, and it was going to be legendary. Leadership in action, people. I entered the room at exactly 8 a.m., our starting time. To my sadistic delight, few were in their seats. 10 or so minutes passed before everyone was finally seated. I stood up in what I thought would be one of my finest leadership moments and began to walk around the table. I pulled the classified ads out and tossed them in front of each person, announcing, "If you want a job from 9 to 5, Dillard's is hiring." And in case they didn't get the point, I passed out yellow markers so they could highlight any openings. This was what being a successful leader was all about. I was making an important point and would be respected for my candor, boldness, and strength. At least it seemed like a great idea at the time. Rather than acknowledging my leadership genius, people began getting up from their tables and leaving. Many shot me looks that ranged from confusion to sheer repugnance. Still others began telling me off, more than one threatening to quit on the spot. I did what any good leader would do under such circumstances. I doubled down. This was on them, after all, not me. Maybe not the best strategy. Nancy stood frozen, watching in disbelief. One colleague announced it was his last day. There was a general theme to the arguments against me. How could the team leader, the same one sponsoring a leadership training session, so blatantly disregard the leadership principles being taught? Calling that moment a leadership mess is probably kind.